Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is pretty straightforward. We are diving into a stack of source material that outlines the 5 essential business metrics for success in 2026. And this isn't just another list of KPIs. This is more like an operating manual for companies that are going to thrive.
That's a good way to put it.
And what our sources are telling us right out of the gate is that the whole definition of success is changing. It's shifting.
It really is.
We're moving away from just measuring outcomes.
Yeah.
What was our total sales number? What's the profit margin?
The end result.
Exactly. And we're shifting focus toward measuring the quality and, maybe more importantly, the speed of the processes themselves. It's less about what you did and more about how you did it.
That's the core insight, right. And what's fascinating here is that the winners aren't the ones with the most dashboards.
No.
They're the ones who pick the right metrics. And then, and this is the key part, they connect them directly into their operational systems, their CRM, their customer platform, whatever it is.
So it's not just a report you look at once a month.
Not at all. It's active. I mean, the sources point to giants like Toyota, GE, Amazon, even Starbucks. They didn't get there by obsessing over quarterly revenue.
Right.
They got there because they measured what the sources call process metrics. The workflow, the system, all the little steps. They knew that's the only place you can find a real scalable advantage.
Okay, so let's unpack this. For you listening, if you need to know where to put your resources, this is it. We're going to start inside the engine room with optimizing internal speed, which brings us to metric 1, cycle time reduction. So just to define it, cycle time is the total clock time from the second you say go on a process until it is 100% done.
It's the internal speed limit of your company.
Yeah, and if you shorten it, you can literally change your business model.
This idea has a long history. You mentioned Toyota. They used cycle time as their main indicator to cut out waste.
What kind of waste are we talking about?
Time spent waiting, time spent moving things around, time spent having to redo work. It's a barometer for how rigid your company is.
And why is that so critical right now?
2 reasons. First, customers just demand speed. But second, for the business, a shorter cycle time means your money turns over faster.
Faster cash flow.
Exactly. The sources point out that when a company like Toyota or Ford cut the time it took to build a car by 30%, they basically made their capital work 2 or 3 times harder than their competitors. That's huge.
That's a massive advantage. But I can hear people thinking, how do I even measure that? It feels squishy. It crosses departments.
It feels squishy until you map it. The rigidity, the delays, that's all measurable now.
Which brings us back to the integration piece. You can't just guess. Our sources talk about using automated timestamps, like the deal stage timestamp in your CRM, to measure the exact time between each step.
And you can automate the whole collection process.
Right. Use a workflow to pull all those times together, and suddenly you have these really solid before and after reports when you try to improve a process. It turns a theory into bottom line reality.
So you have hard data to prove it worked.
Exactly. Okay, so we've nailed internal speed with cycle time. But speed is worthless if the thing you deliver is broken.
Of course.
So to make that speed actually valuable to a customer, we have to kill the friction. Which brings us to metric 2, error rate. We define error rate as just how often mistakes happen. Wrong customer data, work that needs to be fixed, a support ticket sent to the wrong team.
It's the single biggest drain on resources that never shows up on one single budget line. It's hidden.
Historically, this is the foundation of quality movements, right?
Absolutely. The whole Six Sigma concept that GE was famous for in the 90s, it was all built around tracking and crushing the error rate.
Why? What did they see that others didn't?
They realized every single mistake has a multiplier effect on cost. They were trying to get to near perfection because the cost of errors, especially the unseen costs, was just astronomical.
Let's talk about those unseen costs. Why is measuring this so critical today?
Because it's not just the cost of fixing the mistake. That's tiny. The real cost is the opportunity cost.
The time wasted.
Exactly. Every time your team has to fix something, they aren't innovating. They aren't selling. They aren't helping a high-value customer. It's a systemic drag on everything.
So wait a minute. Most leaders think of an error as just, a few hours of wasted time to fix it.
Yeah.
Are you saying the bigger cost is actually the drag on morale and losing focus?
Without a doubt. The second an error happens, you've already paid for it multiple times and lost productivity and focus. You stop being a strategic company and you become, an internal cleanup crew.
And measuring the error rate is how you stop that bleeding.
It gives you the data you need.
And with modern platforms, you can get really specific. You can use custom properties or tags to identify the type of error and link it to its root cause.
So you can see it on a dashboard. Error rate per team, per stage.
Right. And suddenly that hidden cost is totally transparent. You can make strategic calls, like maybe you stop paying for manual checks and you invest that money in an engineer who can fix the root cause for good. That's the real payoff.
That's moving from reactive to proactive.
Okay, now we need to shift our focus. We've optimized the internal engine speed with cycle time, quality with error rate. But for 2026, it's all about the customer's perception.
The outside-in view.
Which brings us to the moment the internal world meets the external world with metric 3, lead time.
Lead time. It's simple, but it's so powerful. It's the total time from when a customer makes a request until they get the result.
It's what the customer feels.
It is. And the big mistake companies make is they only measure their internal SLAs, their service level agreements.
But not the customer's actual wait time.
Exactly. You might celebrate hitting your 3-day internal processing target, but the customer only cares about the 6 weeks they were told they had to wait.
So you're patting yourself on the back while the customer is getting frustrated?
It happens all the time. Companies like Walmart and Amazon live and die by lead time because they know it directly reflects the value the customer gets. If you're slow, they're already looking elsewhere.
So how do we measure that gap accurately?
You track it using the time between ticket created and ticket closed in your CRM. But here's the key. You have to automate it.
You mean with alerts?
Yes. Set up automated alerts if lead time goes over a certain threshold. The system should be screaming at you before the customer gets angry. It turns measurement from a history report into a real-time prevention system.
That's a powerful switch. Okay, let's stay with that external focus, but narrow it down to the very first impression. This is metric 4, first response time, or FRT.
This one is fascinating.
It's not about solving the problem. It's about measuring that psychological feeling of being taken care of from the very first second.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The research, the success stories from places like Starbucks, the data is consistent. First response time often has a bigger impact on customer satisfaction than how fast you actually solve the problem.
Hold on. So just the speed of the acknowledgement is more important than the speed of the fix. That feels wrong.
It feels counterintuitive, but it's about reducing anxiety. A fast response validates the customer's concern. It tells them, we heard you, we're on it.
So they relax a little.
They relax a lot. And because of that, they're far more patient. They'll forgive later delays. It stops escalations before they even start. That fast reply builds immediate brand confidence.
So FRT is almost like a strategic tool. You invest in a super fast initial response, and that buys you flexibility on the actual lead time for the solution.
You've got it. It's psychological leverage.
And on the technical side, this is very doable today. Your Service Hub can measure FRT automatically down to the second.
Yeah.
You can use chatbots for instant auto responses.
And you have to tier it.
Right. Set up different SLAs based on the customer level. Your most valuable customers need the absolute fastest FRT because that initial confidence hit translates directly into loyalty.
Okay, we've covered the internal engine, the waiting time, and the first impression. Now we get to the final metric for 2026, which is all about modern loyalty. This is metric 5, customer recovery rate.
So the definition here is a proportion of customers who are unhappy. They had a problem, they complained, but you successfully won them back.
And they came back and bought from you again.
Why is this deeper than just a CSAT score, a customer satisfaction score?
Because it taps into something called the service recovery paradox. The reality in 2026 is that problems are going to happen. You can't be perfect.
No businesses.
So the real differentiator isn't avoiding problems. It's your ability to flawlessly recover the relationship when something goes wrong.
You mentioned that recovered customers can actually have a higher customer lifetime value, a higher CLV, than customers who never had a problem. That's wild. How is someone who is angry with you now more valuable?
It's about trust and commitment. When you fix a major problem for someone and you do it well, you've proven you're reliable under pressure.
They know you have their back.
Exactly. The customer thinks, wow, they handled that breakdown perfectly. That creates a much deeper emotional bond. The data shows those customers become less sensitive to price, and they're more likely to advocate for you. They become true fans.
That reframes failure completely. It's not a cost, it's a high-value opportunity. But that sounds complicated to calculate. Do you need a data science team for this?
Not at all. The steps are pretty clear. First, you tag customers in your CRM who had an issue. Then you just measure what they do next. Do they buy again in the next year? Do they reopen tickets?
So you're blending data.
Yes. You combine the survey data. Were you happy with the fix? With the hard transactional data, did they actually buy again? That blend is what makes the recovery rate so powerful.
And this brings us to the synthesis, right? What makes all 5 of these metrics, cycle time, error rate, lead time, FRT, and recovery rate, the key for 2026?
It's not the metrics themselves. They've been around for decades. It's how we apply them now.
What's different about the application?
3 big things. First, it has to be real-time measurement, no more old reports. Second, it has to be cross-team data integration. Sales, service, product, all looking at the same numbers.
And third,
And most important, is using your CRM or customer platform as the central hub for actually improving the process, not just storing context.
you can't just look at a report and hope you get better.
Yeah.
You're talking about building the metrics into the system to trigger action.
Precisely. Measuring things in silos is useless. Real improvement only happens when these 5 metrics are mapped, integrated, and actively used inside that central platform. That's how internal efficiency becomes a real scalable advantage.
Okay, so a quick recap for you as you think about optimizing your own systems. The 5 essential metrics for 2026 are 1, cycle time for internal speed, 2, error rate for eliminating hidden costs,
3, lead time, which is the customer's perception of waiting.
4, first response time, or FRT, for building that instant confidence, and 5, customer recovery rate, the ultimate loyalty barometer.
So we've seen the data and the tech behind this, but what stands out to you about this big shift? We're moving from measuring success, like sales, to measuring failure, like error rates, and how well we recover relationships.
It's a fundamental change in business psychology, and it leaves me with a final provocative thought for you to consider based on that service recovery paradox.
Go on.
If your highest value customers often start out as recovered customers, does true loyalty in 2026 mean valuing relationship repair over the myth of initial perfection? Something to think about as you build for the future.